Hi class, this is Jerry Jankowski, your instructor. As I promised you, I would send you a video to help you along with all the other material that is there on Canvas. So here we go. Let us start out first of all. As you can see, I've already started here, but let's just do this again, okay? The design brief is right here. Okay, now I'm not going to read all the top of it, but we will be setting up our document a little bit differently. We'll get into that in a second. What I'd like to point out here is this is not that unusual to get from a client. Okay, these days with the pandemic, a lot of us are not meeting with the client or art directors. We're actually receiving emails and other forms of communication, non-contact type communication. Okay, now what you see here is a lot of notes that I put in red. You would get that from a client, or you might do that over email or the phone. Okay, so if it was the phone, you would have to be taking notes. So that's why I always stress in my class, be a good note taker. Always have a notebook. Always be writing down details. Because what you don't want to do is have to be asking your client again information they already told you. I think this also applies to a school situation. By constantly asking your instructors, sending them emails, asking them questions they've already told you or given you, it can be annoying, and it's also not very professional. Okay, so please learn to do that. Okay, so what we have is a sketch in the middle. Minutes are too hot for your dog. This is going to be an infographic that the client is going to put on probably an ad for a company that they want to do kind of a public support type thing. So this is going to be a size a little bit differently. It's going to be in 960s pixels wide and 1200 deep. Okay, so 960 pixels wide is about right for this type of thing, for a full page on a website. Okay, so if you go through all the red, look at it all, read it all, please. What you need to do when you work with a client is see what they give you first. Remember, this is just a sketch. It doesn't have to be exactly this, unless they say they want it exactly what they're giving you. For me, that's rare. I rarely get that. I make a note here. The art director is going to expect you to make it look a lot better. That's what you're paid for. That's what I'm paid for as a freelancer. They're going to give me a rough sketch, but in the terms of looking at this sketch right here, they don't want that card to look exactly like that. You have some leeway. And if you ever wonder about, do they want something, do a quick sketch or something quick digitally, send it to them and say, hey, is this kind of along the lines of something you want? And that would be great. I see here that I have, for the headline, set in impact all caps. The rest is Arial. Please follow that. If you don't use impact, which is a nice condensed heavy font, or Arial, please use something very similar. Okay? I want to get you to work with a restricted amount of type fonts. Okay? So let's go here. Let's start this. Get rid of this. Okay, and I'll pretend this you don't see this. And let's do something new. We're in Illustrator. Right up here, Illustrator. Notice I'm also Essentials Classic. So please be that with me. If you like working in Essentials, go ahead. But for this demo, please go along with me. So you'll have this control bar on the top. Okay? So let's do Command N or Control N on your PC. And here we go. First thing, go over, it says web. You can click on that. But let's go over here and put in, I believe I said 960 pixels by 1200, 1200. Okay, this is the correct orientation. We want 2 billboards. As you know, I like to have a secondary billboard on my right, so I can, it's kind of like my sketch area, okay? And we'll get rid of that when we're done. Don't worry about this, there is no bleed. This is not print. Bleed only exists in when you're printing. RGB color mode, okay? Now, in web, screen value is usually 72 picos per inch. I'm sorry, pixels per inch, okay? Not picos, pixels. All right? I'm going to bump that up to 150. Print is 300, but I'm going to do 150 because I want it a little bit higher res. The client can always, it can always be reduced when they place it, okay? So let's create. Here we go. All right, now let's get that sketch. Let's get the sketch the client gave us. Okay, go up to File, Place, which is Shift, Command, or Control P. Okay, so let's look for it. Okay, this is on my computer. Let's see, desktop stuff folder, that's it. Clients, dog, car, sketch. Place. Okay, again, it's on this little hanger. Let's click on the corner and pull. It's a little bit off. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Remember, the sketch is a close approximation of what we're going to do. Let's pull it up a little bit. Now, this is the thing you do with a client. You have to interpret some things. Do they really want this border here? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say this line is on the outside, the border line, this rough line, is something that they are drawing, which they mean to be the edge of the image area. So I'm going to bring this right up to the edge. Okay, so I'm going to pull this, adjust it a little bit. Let's see how close we are. That is really close. That's good enough. Okay, now this is what I'm going to do. I want to trace over it. Let's click off first. Okay, I want to trace over this. All right, so the image, the opacity, I don't want it to be too strong while I'm tracing, so I'm going to do 50%. I do this almost all the time when I bring something into Illustrator to trace over. Okay, click off. There we go. You can still see it. Click on it. Now, let's lock it. Object, lock, selection. Make sure you don't just do lock and let go. It won't lock. Object, lock, selection. There we are. I think Illustrator is the only one you have to do that with. Okay, so here we are. For this, I'm going to do 3 separate videos for this. So, because there's a lot of information here. That's one thing about infographics that are really good, is because there's a lot of stuff there. This is a really good job to get from a client. I'm currently working on a project where I'm doing a lot of infographic type stuff. Not as fun as this, but there's a lot of stuff, which means there's a lot of hours involved, which means it's a really good job. It pays well. Okay, so here, let's do the sun for this first video, and let's do both of these, okay? These are the old-fashioned thermometer, right? There's mercury, or I don't exactly know what is in there today, because mercury's kind of poisonous. Well, not kind of, it is. But it is encapsulated in glass, so whatever. These are 2 thermometers. One reads 78 degrees, another reads 120. When is it too hot for your dog? Okay, so let's read that. Also, we're going to have 2 little, not sidebars, but just kind of information here that gets separated from the background. We have a city scene in the background, and then we have some more information down here we'll do in the next video. Okay, let's do this first. Okay, let's do a sun. Okay, let's go to the shape tools. Alright, so let's kind of match this. That's what the sketch is for. I'm going to hold down the Shift Alt Option keys. See the circle there you get? And I'm going to pull this out. There, that looks good. Pull it down. It's a little bit off, but that's okay. You can always make it larger and smaller. I just want to make sure it fits right now. Okay, so the sun. Let's do a sun that's a gradient. Let's do it. First of all, here's your swatches. Click on that. Click on here, hold down the mouse and pull it. Drag it. There you go. So you have this. If you don't have the swatches here, go up here to Window and go to Swatches and let go. This check means I do have it. Okay? But if you need anything, Pathfinder, swatches, stroke, where's gradient? Gradient here. Let's do gradient right away since we're in here. Okay, there's gradient because we're going to need this. Okay, so here we go. Make it easy. All right, make sure it's selected. Let's do kind of a little bit of a yellow. Oh, it's not on the right one. It's supposed to be. Okay, make sure the fill is selected. There we go. It's a little dark. You know what? I'm going to click on this. Let's do none for the stroke on the outside. It doesn't really matter, but let's just do that. Okay, so we have this, and now here we have gradient. Let's click here on radial gradient, and there we go. Again, gradients always will default to black and white, so we have this, no problem. We have all our colors up here, all right? Click on the yellow, hold it, pull it down, and drop it right there, okay? There, we got a nice little gradient there. I want this a little bit orange on the outside, so let's move this over just a little bit. Now, let's click here. I've done this for a while. Here, hold down the Option key. There we go. There we go. I was doing it wrong. Hold down your Option Alt key, click on this, and pull it. Okay. Now we have another one. This is the light area. That's the center. This is the dark. Now I'm going to take this lightest orange and drop it in there. There we go. Again, these sliders are for, like drastic change. These two little ones on top also can work. So you can do, I think that's pretty good for my son. Okay, I'm going to click off and look at it. It's a little bit too white here, but we'll deal with that later. Well, let's just do it. There, better. Okay, now let's do these sun rays. All right. Just got to move this a little bit. It's in my way. Now, remember in one of our exercises we use the star tool. Let's go back to it again. I rarely use this, so we're going to have to experiment a little bit. What color are we in? We're in the gradient. I don't think I want to be in the gradient. I think I just want to be in yellow. Okay, so click on your, this is our sketch pad here on the right, and here's the star. Now, I don't use this very often. I only work on pixels when I'm doing web stuff, so I haven't done this for a while, so I'm guessing 300 is about what I want. Radius also affects the little jaggies. Okay, so let's put 150 in here. Let's do half of 300. I have no idea if this is right. Points, let's do 30. Again, I'm guessing. That's the points of the sun. It'll be all around. Okay, not quite right. Let's take down the amount of points and let's bring it closer to the edge. It's too far in. These are sticking up. Unless you like this, I mean, it's really up to you. You make the sun the way you want. I'm going to do this at 2. It was 200, so I've used that. I'm going to do 20 points. There, that's closer to what I want. See that? That's closer. Okay, click, delete. Let's put this over here. Okay, it needs to be a little bit bigger. I want this to be through the edge, so I'm holding the shift key so I can pull it in, and so it doesn't distort. Yeah, let's move it over here, and let's move this over here too. Okay, the sun part needs to come up. Arrange, bring to front. There we go. Okay. Which is interesting. Now, as far as layers go, I don't do layers a lot in Illustrator. I do them a lot in Photoshop because there's no way you can get around it in Photoshop. How does that look? Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Because I don't want this going off the top here. That's why I'm being really critical with this. Let me try one more. Here we go. And I'll get back to talking about layers. Okay. I wonder if I put 220 here, how's that's going to affect it? There, that's kind of what I want. Yeah, there, that's what I want. So they're not so long. Again, just play with it. Literally do what I'm doing. Just experiment. And then I'm going to get this bigger and send it to back. Okay, object, arrange, send it back. Now, I'm doing this demo and I am doing what I think is good just because I'm just doing this. I haven't practiced this, so you don't have to do that. I mean, you could do a gradient so that the tips are a little bit orange. I mean, it's really up to you. You have to, at this point, already kind of think of what you're going to do in your background. I've decided right now that I'm going to do a blue background. You might want to do a hot red background. It's up to you. The whole look of this is, when is it too hot for your dog? So I'm going to do a nice, hot, bright sun in a Southern California blue sky. So that's what I'm going to do, okay? Now, notice that it gets cut off here, okay? If I put this here, it's going to go down way too far. So I am going to cut off the bottom. I would say probably from this point to this point. How do you do that? Well, we've done this in another assignment. Okay, let's go to Object. It's supposed to be click. It doesn't show it because I got to select. Well, clipping mask, make. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the part that I want, I'm going to put this big rectangle over. Okay, let's make the rectangle white. I don't want a gradient. Let's just do white. Okay. So it looks different, and I think I want it down to that point. Okay, now click off of it. I'll do a marquee over all of it. Object, clipping mask, make, and voila, there you go. I don't like it. I want to go down to here. Okay, let's do that again. Let's do it right there. I hope I'm right. Okay. You select, object, clipping mask, make. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay. So let's do Command Control G, and that groups it. And let's put it right there. And I'll make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to hold Shift, make it just a little bit smaller. There. That's good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I should have probably did this when I imported the sketch, but I'm going to do 3 layers, all right? Now, let's, for the time being, put this back here, okay? So this is locked. Let's get layers. Where's layers? Right here. Okay, let's get layers, see what we can do. Okay, so right here we have our sketch. That's this, and it's locked. Okay, so in fact, I can also lock it here too. You can lock it up here, or you could lock it here. Just click on that space. Okay, double click and put in sketch. That's all that's going to be on this layer. Okay, now I'm going to do 2 more layers. One is going to be for the midground, the car, the sun, the thermometers, and then background, which will be for the buildings, the sky, and this parking lot, or whatever you want to make it. Okay? So let's, down here, the square with the plus, create new, double click, and make sure you label your layers. Okay? So let's call this sketches on the bottom. Let's do this as background. Back. Let's abbreviate ground. Okay? One more. Background. I'm going to call this top layer. And there we are. Okay. Now we have to be careful with our layers, though, when we place something. Okay, watch when I click this. See, it goes away. I click the eyeball. Notice the sun goes away, too, because it's on this layer. Let's click on this. I'm going to do Control-Command-X for cut. Top layer. Control-Command-V. There it is. See, I'm on top layer. Okay, let's click the eyeball. It goes away. Okay, this is really all you usually should have in Illustrator. I had a student who liked to do layers like you do in Photoshop. You can, but you really aren't supposed to. There's really no need for it. And opening these up with all this, all the sub layers underneath it, it's not really necessary. There are other things which I think are more faster. Basically, I'm showing you what I think is a faster way to do it. Okay, ultimately, you're going to do your way, but for this class, please try to do what I'm trying to show you. Okay, let's do these 2 thermometers. Okay, shapes again. You could actually take the pen tool and draw these, but why? Here, let's go to the shape, rounded rectangle tool. Okay, what color are we in? We're in white. Let's make sure we're in white. Okay, let's do white with, where's colors here? Swatches. Let's move this, or let's just put this back in here. We don't need it right now. Okay, try to leave as much room as possible here on your artboard work area. Okay, so this is it. Let's do a very light black outline on it so we can see it, because we're working on white. Okay, so here we go. I am going to try to match this. See that? So here we go. Pretty easy, right? There we are. There it is. Okay, now let's do this ball here too. Let's go here, ellipse tool. I'm going to hold down the Shift, Alt, or Option right there. Click pull. Doesn't have to be too big. This is like where the mercury is, a little storage area. Okay, looks good. Again, we're going to get rid of these black lines. Don't leave black lines on unless you really want them. Okay, this is going to be red. Let's go down here to this real juicy red here. There it is. Nice juicy red. Okay, this. Click, select, Hold down the Alt option, you get that double arrow, pull. I am dragging and I'm creating another one. Okay, let's match it with this one, the 78. Okay, select. This is up front, so we're going to do whatever, we're going to do a fill. There we are. Okay, so now what do we do with this? Let's put it in right here. But first we have to cut it. Okay, it's a little bit above half. So let's, again, rectangle tool. About like that. I'm going to do white, just so I know and see better. Okay, now I'm going to do it over, no, I'm wrong. I have to do this. I have to do it over what I want to keep. It's a little counterintuitive and it throws me sometimes, but put the rectangle over what you want to keep. Okay, marquee, object, clipping mask, make. There we go. This is what I want. Okay, now let's put that right there. Okay, let's click on it and get rid of the black line on the outside. Oops, didn't select it. There. Now we'll take care of the rest of these black lines later, but so I don't click on this and, this is all in pieces. So let's do group, which is Control Command G. Okay, so we have this one. So I'm not going to waste your time. Make sure it's on this top layer. Let's see if it's there. Yep. You're going to make one for here too. So I'm not going to waste your time. Just do the same thing, but make the red go right up toward the top. Okay? And so that it looks like it's going to burst. Okay? And then this will be it for this video. We're going to start the next video where we put in, we're going to be either doing some typography or we're going to do the car. Okay, so that is it for now. Let's save. And let's call this, oh, I don't want to say hot dog, but what are we going to call it? Too hot. Let's call it too hot. Too hot dog. You can call it hot dog if you want. Okay. And I'm going to save that in there. Okay, this is my file. And now I'm going to save my QuickTime. So QuickTime, and then we'll save it as TooHotDog desktop. And that's it.